I really hope you guys don't take offense to this video. It's all in just fun. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gloria and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today I wanted to go through my top 10 overrated houseplants, and they're gonna include some common basic ones and also some like uncommon rare ones. So hope you guys enjoy. I will be throwing some shade to these plants, so don't come for me. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. But before we do so, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my new videos. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. So I'm pretty sure you guys guessed this one will definitely make the list. And the first one I'm going to talk about today is the MONSTERA, and it's the ALBO VARIEGATA. So the variegated MONSTERA, if you guys don't know, it has literally blown up in the market and they're going for literally ridiculous prices right now. I've seen single leaf cuttings going for like $600, $700, and honestly that's just like unacceptable for one leaf that's unrooted and potentially gonna rot on you. So I really don't think that it is worth the hype. It's a really beautiful plant if you're able to get it at a decent price, or if you're able to do it through a trade with like planty friends. But if you're just like buying it on the market, I really don't think it's worth what it's going for right now. It's unstable variegation. It also has a very high chance for rot. So there's a lot of things going against it, but overall it's still a very stunning plant, but I just think it's really overrated. If you guys are able to find yourself like a variegated MONSTERA, I would say it's probably better to go for a Thai constellation because they're a little bit cheaper and they also have stable variegation, which I find is really important when I'm buying plants. Unstable variegation is super stressful. You have to keep chopping the plant back. It could revert. There's so many things going on with it. And let's move on to plant number 2, which is the FICUS TINEKE. So this one is the rubber tree plant, and it's the variegated one with kind of like the cream and like white variegation. So it literally looks like watercolor and it's so stinking beautiful. But I think it's a little overrated because it needs really high light in order for the leaves to grow really big and very just variegated. If you don't have those conditions in your home, I wouldn't say to buy a ficus plant. They do end up thriving in the spring and summer if they're just placed outdoors. So maybe if you have like a nice shaded balcony or like a backyard, that would be really good. But for me, I live in like a place that has very little sunshine. Honestly, very dark in the winter and very short days. So I don't think a Tineke would thrive in my care. They always look so beautiful in nurseries, but once you bring them home, the leaves kind of grow a little bit small and they're just not as nice. If I were to think of another ficus to buy, I would say the ficus AUDREY. Looks a little cuter. The leaves are softer and I'm more of a texture person as opposed to a variegation girl. The softer velvety leaves really get me with the ficus AUDREY. I would get that over the slightly overrated Tineke, but that's just my own opinion. Let's move on to the next plant, which is the ficus LYRATA. And you guys know I've done a video on how to care for fiddle leaf figs, which is the ficus LYRATA, and honestly it used to be really hyped, and I think it's overrated because one, it drops leaves like crazy the moment you do anything different. So if you're slightly late on your watering schedule, drop a leaf. If the humidity isn't good enough, drop a leaf. If you literally move it to a different spot in your house, drop a leaf. So I think it's just a little too finicky for my care, and if I were to just pick one ficus, like I said, I'd probably get the ficus AUDREY as opposed to the LYRATA or the Tineke. Kind of wanted to say those two plants together. Next on the list for plant number 4 is my philodendron pink princess. So as you guys know, I had to recently chop it back because the variegation is unstable, which you guys know I hate that, and I wanted to stimulate more pink variegation, so I had to chop the plant, which is very common for pink princesses, especially the ones that are sold in Canada, because they're tissue cultured and they don't have really good genes to have that pink variegation. I know in the US and in like Europe they have really nice pink princesses and they go for a lot more expensive compared to the ones that are here. It's just not the same. I'd say it's definitely overrated. I would say the white princess looks so much better compared to the pink princess, and if you guys were to get one or the other, go for the white princess. It's a little bit more stable variegation. Okay, so plant number 5 is the variegated HOYA Carnosa compacta. So this is the Hoya Hindu rope, and it's the variegated one with the margins that are variegated. And I think this one is very overrated. A lot of people were going crazy over this when there were a bunch of releases in the GTA Toronto area in the summer. I guess when a bunch of nurseries were able to get their hands on it and try to sell them, they were constantly just jacking the prices up. And I think if you're a beginner, I would say it's a little bit harder to grow it, and it's also a very slow grower compared to the regular carnosa. The compacta is just not easy to grow, especially if it's a variegated, and I think the reverse variegated looks a lot better actually. So that's the Mauna Loa, something like that. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but I think that Hoya is definitely a lot nicer. So if you were to get a variegated Hoya, definitely go for the other variegation and not the outside variegated one, because that one is overrated. Everyone has it now and it's just not that nice. Sorry. 6th on the list is also another variegated plant, and this is the variegated string of pearls. So the variegated string of pearls grows very slowly. It's overpriced. And I personally just think the regular variety looks a lot better. It looks so nice when it's just trailing beautifully, and it grows a lot faster. So you'll get that trailing look in a shorter period of time versus the little pots of variegated string of pearls that you will get at nurseries. They're just not worth their money. And if you're really into like a variegated trailing plant, then I would say go for the variegated string of hearts. That looks so cute because the variegation comes out pink if you give it enough light, versus the string of pearls is just kind of like a cream color, and it's very easy for it to revert back to just like a regular string of pearls. So you're just overpaying for a standard string of pearls. So I don't know about you, but I probably wouldn't do that. Next on the list for plant number 7 is Alocasia Black Velvet. So this one honestly looks very stunning and I really like it, but I just don't do well with alocasias, and I think they're a little bit finicky in terms of humidity and watering. The tips and the edges of the leaves tend to brown and crisp up very easily. It doesn't stay perfect, and if you're kind of into like a velvety leaf alocasia, probably go for the Friedeck more so than the Black Velvet. They're both a little bit more accessible now. If you're choosing between the two, definitely go for the Friedeck as opposed to the Black Velvet. It's a little bit more finicky, it's not as beginner friendly, and you still get the velvety goodness in both of them. Next on the list for plant number 8 is also a black plant, and it's the Raven ZZ. So this used to be super hyped and everybody was on the lookout for a Raven ZZ. I personally think the regular ZZ plant looks so much cuter. I really like big ZZ plants. I think they look fabulous as a floor plant, and they're just such a statement piece, and they don't require a lot of care, but it's very hard to find a black ZZ plant in the size that I would want it, because they're usually sold as small little plants, like maybe 4 or 6 inch pots. You can't really use that as a floor plant. They grow maybe like one stalk every like 6 to 12 months. They're very slow growers, but if you kind of really like that dark, spooky, gloomy foliage, then maybe get the ZZ Raven, but otherwise just get the regular ZZ plant. I think you'll like it a lot more, but that's just my opinion. Okay, we're down to the last 2 plants, and next one on the list is the PILEA PEPEROMIOIDES. It's always so hard for me to pronounce that plant. I don't know, but I hope I said that right. But the PILEA plant is that circular pancake shaped leaf plant, and it's just not my cup of tea. I think it's super overrated. It's very hard to kind of have it growing very symmetrical and even. You have to constantly be turning the pot. They end up drooping on the bottom like the leaves and just falling off, but it's a really good plant if you want to propagate and share with plenty friends or your family members or your loved ones. I would say it just doesn't have the prettiest growth pattern. A lot of people struggle with caring for this plant, so I think it's kind of little finicky. Be careful if you're going to be getting one of these plants, but yeah, definitely on my list of overrated plants. I think it's kind of past its time, and everybody and their mother has a PILEA, so it's time to get rid of that one and get other plants. Last but not least, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one because a lot of people like this, and it is the watermelon peperomia. I think because it looks so unique. What type of plant looks like a watermelon? Honestly, no other plant. So it does have really stunning and unique foliage, but I think the growth pattern is just not that nice. Once again, grows really droopy and it's just hard for it to grow nicely and more compact. It kind of gets all stretched out and leggy, which is not the look you're going for. But if you just admire the foliage and you don't care about the growth pattern, maybe you'll enjoy this plant. But I still think it's a little bit overrated, so I personally wouldn't buy this one. I might admire it from afar, but probably never bring it home from a nursery. That pretty much concludes the top 10 plants that I think are really overrated and I personally wouldn't buy, or if I already have it, I might be getting rid of it. I really hope you guys don't take offense to this video. It's all in just fun, and I hope you guys found it somewhat entertaining. Comment down below which plant you think is really overrated. We all have our own preferences and opinions, so don't come for me and don't come for people in the comments if you guys disagree. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.